In this video, I will be showing you how I cook buta no shogayaki, ginger pork.
It is a dish loved all year round, but especially during the hot summer. Pork is known for containing vitamin B1 and it is commonly believed that it helps you from feeling fatigued from the heat.
Alright, let's get cooking!
Today I have pork loin. You can get these nice cuts at your local grocery store. I will be making small incisions into the white area where the fat is and where it's connecting to the meat. You can see how I cut it here. So I'm going to do that on both sides.
I'm going to do that to all of them.
We are going to work on our ginger. I freeze my ginger just because it's convenient. You don't use all of the ginger all at once. You use your spoon. Just put it right under the heel. Pull back. Okay. It comes right off. So pretty. By peeling it, actually I made a flat side, so I'm going to put the flat side on the cutting board so it doesn't move around really. But if you don't have a flat area, you can always cut off just a sliver to make a flat spot and set that down. That keeps it from rolling and less finger cutting. So we're going to cut it long ways first. Now it will sound a little different if yours is not frozen. Make a stack. Flat stack is preferable here. Okay, then matchsticks. Always keep that thumb behind your pointer finger and middle finger. So much easier to cut that thumb than the other fingers. Just grate away. See, once it gets this small, it really doesn't matter. I'm using a microplaner here, but you could also use this grater, oroshiki, in a circular motion. Do that. I also have this grater. It's Italian. You can go around and around and around. You can grate that way. Onion. Cut the top off. I feel like it's so much easier to see where you can peel from when you cut it halfway through. Could be just me. Half, and then a third. I'll be using this much, and I'm going to grate that. I'm telling you, it's going to be worth it. I'm not crying, you're crying. And the rest I am going to slice. So, okay, not this way, this way. Make a little triangle and get that out. When you get to the end and getting wobbly, push it down, and you get more surface area to the cutting board. And it's a lot more stable. Slice it in. Adding the grated onions to the grated ginger. Soy sauce. Koikuchi shoyu. 2. It's Mirin. Same tablespoon. 2 tablespoons. Ryorishu. So cooking sake. If you have a half a teaspoon, great. If you don't, you want to make it flat. Just push the extra sugar off and then cut. Push the extra back in. Half a teaspoon. That in. And we're gonna mix this up. I'm gonna pour a little bit of it on here just to kind of flavor it. You have just poured like 3 tablespoons on it. Rub it in. Doesn't have to sit in it for a long time, but just to have a little bit of flavor on it, I think makes a big difference. I'm gonna let that sit. Several ways you can do this. You can use a mandolin. You can do this. You get a uniform thickness from that. You can peel a few layers so it's a lot more manageable. You're gonna cut off the middle part, but you can also slice that up and use that for a different meal. Roll this a little bit, just so you can get a lot cut all at once. It can be a little thicker at places, but it does its job. And maybe you have one of these peelers, straight edge. You just go down like you're using the mandolin. And once you get all the cabbage chopped up into these thin slices, we're gonna put it into ice water. That's gonna make it not turn brown, but also crisp. The cabbage is soaking, literally 1 to 2 minutes. We are going to put some flour on the pork. You're just gonna sprinkle on a little bit of flour to keep that flavor in there and also get the sauce that we're gonna put on top of it really coat the pork. So while I was dusting the pork, we had the cabbage soaking in the water. I went to drain that, and now using the salad spinner, I'm going to just take away that excess water. Or maybe yours that pushing down kind, mine's the turning kind. You can see just a bit of excess water here. It's very crisp now. So we are going to cook. I hear a lot of the times how people are a little squeamish about using their stainless steel pans. The biggest advice I can give you is that you need to heat up the pan. Before you put anything in there, heat it up. Actually hot. So we're gonna do that here. Put it on high heat. Then we're gonna do the hand test where you're checking if it's hot enough. But if you don't know how hot is supposed to be, there's another test you can do. I'm gonna grab some water and I'm gonna sprinkle it on the pan. If you see the water droplets rolling like this before it evaporates, it's hot enough. We're gonna add a little bit of oil. And again, you can see that the pan is hot enough because the oil is gonna just spread and glide easily. And then you hear that glorious sound of sizzling. Now you can just put in the onion as is. You see the clumps here? That's gonna break down because you're gonna break it down. You can bring it down to medium-high heat now. We're just trying to get it to the point where it's slightly translucent. Turn off the heat. Set the onions aside. The residual heat is going to cook it a little bit more. Now, back on the heat, medium-high. It should be still very hot, so we're going to cook the meat now. Try to choose the ones that are slightly thicker. Oil that's on there is going to start smoking. So you can see where it's thinner, it's already starting to cook. Once the whole piece of meat turns to this cherry blossom pink, I should say, where it's like white and pink at the same time, that is when I flip it. So it won't take long. Just look at each piece. Some are gonna go faster. And if you have trouble getting it off the pan, that means it needs to stay there and cook a little longer. Don't move it around too much. We want it to sear. And I'm going to move some off to the side and add that last piece. I did save the thin piece for last. It'll cook faster. Now that it's basically seared on one side and you saw it cook through, and then you flipped it to sear the other side. Now we're gonna stop the fire. I just stopped it. And we're gonna throw in, back on, a delicious, delicious sauce. Just kind of cover it all. And make sure the meat is all coated. And we're gonna throw in the onions back in. Now we want that coat the meat. And don't move it too much. Just make sure that there's space for each piece of meat. And we're gonna throw in the ginger. So the ginger went in, both in the sauce and now the matchsticks. And you can see that it's absorbed some of the sauce and its juices have gone into the sauce. I plated my cabbage, just a mound here, and I'm taking this off the heat. And take some pieces and put it on top, slightly covering the cabbage, and get some of that onions on top of it, ginger. So because the meat is a darker color, it chose a brighter color for the plate. I am also going to add darker green, it's a cucumber, and some bright red on the tomatoes. Cut the cucumber diagonally. Grab a few, maybe a couple. There. Tomatoes that are on the vine will tell you when they are ripe. You tug on it and it just comes right off. I pre-washed everything. The bottom side, the side that has the greens normally, the stems, that's gonna go on the bottom. Cut through. Normally I would put this flat side on the bottom, but with tomatoes, because the skin is a lot more tougher than the insides, I cut from the inside out. And if you see a little bit of stem going in here, you can just cut that off.豚肉の生姜焼き. Oh, and then we're gonna put these. One more thing. You might have seen this in the background here. This is like a big debate. Are you someone that puts mayonnaise on buta no shogayaki, ginger pork, or are you not? Tell me in the comments if you've had it before. I did not grow up with mayonnaise on my buta no shogayaki, my ginger pork. Some people swear by it. So today I'm gonna put it on just for you. So you may be wondering, how is it different from American mayonnaise? But that's another video. Okay, so I put some mayonnaise on, just like to kick it up a notch, so and make it a little fancy. I'm gonna put some 7 spices, Japanese 7 spices, tap that on the mayonnaise. There you go, buta no shogayaki. Really good. Thank you for cooking with me.